if someone watching says, hey, I'm where you are, and I'm trying to transition into a more positive space, connecting with more people, being able to share my energy with others, would you say there was a formula?
Yes.
Do you
100%.
share it?
I'm gonna share it with you. So it's actually like so basic, and it's actively just.
I know. It's okay. It's recorded. I know.
I'll clip that just for your Instagram.
All right. So on the topic of human connection, for me, I've always been known as a human connector. I believe one of the most valuable things we have in life is the connection with other people.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, I was so concerned about, when I saw life, how is it that I can help other people see what they don't see in themselves?
Right. And you, because what I've known from you, from meeting you, which is 3 months ago, 4 months ago, like you said, you haven't brought out that you're a human connector, but I can get that from you because of how quickly and easily you do connect to people. And so are you saying from a young age that was who you always have been?
Yeah, because I see it as an art.
Right.
Like some people are painters, some people are singers,
true.
some people are actors, some people are a lot of different things. But for me, when I see people, when I see them almost like puzzle pieces.
Okay.
And so I say, well, Max has 5 ridges and this other person has 5 ridges. And
can they go together?
Those two will go together.
Yes.
You
Interesting.
know? Versus you just, when people, like, even when I meet people, when I choose my friends, right? So some people say you don't choose your friends. You choose your friends.
Yeah, 100%.
And I used to always get a thing from people saying that, oh, you don't hang around ugly people. I said, well, wait a minute. I still have Max. No. I said, wait a minute, because I don't believe that positive people can ever be ugly. If you have a sense of positive
in your energy,
there's nothing that I can see about you that will be ugly.
Right.
Right. And so what you're exuding to the public and others is beauty.
Yes.
And that is what comes from positive human connection.
I love that.
Is beauty. It's that sense of I see you. Yeah. And you see me. And that alone is enough.
So growing up from around maybe 5 to 10, I always wanted to be around people. But then after that, coming out of the drug situation, I then didn't want to be around people. And then around the pandemic time, I actively shut myself away from people. And I worked all the time. I didn't want to speak to people. I didn't really want to go out. And coming here, especially people in Latin America, they're very warm. And in England, a lot of people are much more colder, I would say.
It's very cold there.
Exactly, it's with the climate.
Yeah.
But being here has made me want to connect to more people, and I've actively met people that are great connectors, like yourself, and like I've got some other friends here, and that's made me want to explore it more without realizing I wanted to explore it. But that's what's actually helped me grow as a person and get those puzzle pieces in the right places to meet the right people to progress in certain areas, whether that's in friendships, whether that's in relationships, whether that's in business, whether that's in even fitness. Because I've connected with people that are more into fitness, it's motivated me to want to go to the gym even more. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Would you say it's more like a drug now? I mean, because you used the word since your addiction, right? So you've shifted. And so would you say that, because I know for me, that it seems it could have been like an addiction for me, and it still is kind of like I get a little.
But it's a positive addiction. Do you know what I mean?
It is, but it could also be at times one that's over-consuming, right?
Yes.
If you do it too much, if you're around people too much, if you take the need for other people being around or being able to be the connector of those people, and then you kind of are left out when deals are made or when people are going out, whatever it may be. It can be just with like the byproducts of having a drug. Now, I've never had a drug situation, so I'm asking, maybe you would know, since you've moved past it. Are you feeling something similar in the rush of the new relationships and the connection?
I'll tell you what it is, and I've got a great example here. So I've got an addictive personality, period. Like everyone says, oh, you shouldn't say that. That's a really bad mindset to have. I'm like, no, but I just get addicted to good things. I'm addicted to the gym. I'm addicted to eating healthy. I'm addicted to meeting good people. I'm addicted to sort of posting content. Like I love that stuff, and that helps me in life anyway. So I see it as a good addiction. I don't really like the word addiction, but let's just put it there. But ever since coming here and recently connecting with a lot of people, the last week or so, I've actively not been around a lot of people because I was like, my social clock is off. I just don't want to see people. And it's like, it's finding that balance. And when I've been on my own, it's been nice to sit there. But then there have been times where I'm like, oh, I should go and see people. But then that's where I catch myself again. And I'm like, why do you want to see people? Is it because you want to feel something? Or so I'm sitting there and I'm sitting with my own thoughts thinking, well, do I need to be around people or do I want to be around people?
Would you say there's a formula for, well,
I'd say you've got the formula out of me. I'm still playing the game. I'm still early in the game.
But in the space that you've been in right now, would you say that there's a formula? If someone watching says, hey, you know, I'm where you are, and I'm trying to transition into a more positive space, connecting with more people, being able to share my energy with others, would you say there was a formula?
Yes.
Do you
100%
share it?
I'm going to share it with you. So it's actually like so basic, and it's actively just speaking to people. So I had a massive insecurity of talking to people that I didn't know, and especially women. I had a massive insecurity of just going up and talking to women. I don't know what it was. And
rejection?
It wasn't rejection, because I'm actually okay with being rejected. I think it was, if I think back to it, it was years ago when I've had experiences in the past, and a trauma response is just when you go through an experience and then something else comes up and my body will react in a way that goes, oh no, I'm really embarrassed, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But coming here, I'm just talking to people and I'm not expecting anything from anyone. So that's the biggest one, is I will...
So no expectation.
Biggest thing. So for example, I'll go up to someone, I'll compliment them. Oh, I like your hat. I did it, there was these two girls. I said, oh, I like your hat. And then the other friend then put her hat on. And it was like, she made someone feel good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay. So like, just dropping a compliment when you don't need to, but it's nice to do it. And doing those little things every day, you start to build muscles, and it really is like working out your biceps. If you just actively say, so also it's helping me learn Spanish. I'm going up to people, oh, ¿cómo estás? How's your day? Like, I'm just speaking to them and they're replying. It's not a big conversation, but the initial time of me doing it, I was like, oh, yes. Like to everyone else, it's like, that's so minor. To me back then, even like, what was that, a couple of months ago, I was like, oh, you should be proud of yourself. You stepped outside your comfort zone. And every time just stepping out.
So the second piece would be stepping outside of the comfort zone.
Yeah, and I would consider myself a very confident and courageous person. Now, speaking to people, that doesn't sound like it's very courageous, does it? But for that specifically, stepping outside of it, I still felt scared. So anyone that does it, you're going to feel scared.
Okay.
And it's about, in that spite of fear, is still doing it anyway. And there's been times where I actively went to do it and I got completely rejected. And I was like, oh, well, that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
And expect rejection as well. Look, there's like, I can't remember who talks about it. It's like, look for no's. So actively go out looking for rejection. And in those 100 rejections, you're going to get 5, 10, 15, 20 people saying yes to whatever it is that you're offering. And it doesn't even, it could literally just be, do you want to go out for a drink? Or what are you doing this evening? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So for me, when I think about the formula,
I was going to say, let's take from the rookie formula to the professional formula.
It's really a mindset. And it's like when I enter into a space, initially when I enter into a space, I assess the energies of the space.
Interesting.
So if I'm in a restaurant, if I'm at a club, if I'm out with friends, if I'm at church, wherever I'm at, whatever the setting, you can always first assess the levels of the energy, right? Those who have the very powerful energy in the room, and those who have the least powerful energy, and those who are just moderate in the space. And so that's my first, like, networking events. For me, that's how I mastered it. So that's the key. The key is know who's in the room before you start talking to anyone.
Right. How do you do that?
Well, I think it's an introspective space of understanding yourself first. You have to know your energy. You have to know your highs, your lows, and what it looks like, right? The auras, and people talk about auras, but what does it look like when I walk into a room, and what do I want people to gauge from me? Is it confidence?
Right.
Is it humility? Right. Is it arrogance? Like, what am I pushing out?
Right.
That's very important. So when you're going around saying, yeah, I'm talking to these people, trying to make their days better, you're pushing out something.
Yes. Right? I'm coming with a giving energy with no expectations.
Yeah, and so the no expectation is, I want to give this thing to do this thing, cause and effect, right? So by saying, oh, this compliment, the byproduct of it is to say, oh, this person is going to have a better day.
Yes.
And some days, it's kind of weird because when I was in college, I learned that I had a gift of connecting with people where they are.
Okay.
And so I used to do this thing called G. Empowerment. So it was the name of my company, but it's also something I did every morning. Was I would send little snippets of inspiration to different people, and it literally scared me because it was literally on point every time to everybody that I send it to. And I wouldn't send it to everyone. Yeah. But it would be, today I felt like this person, that person, and those other people needed it.
Right.
And it literally was on point. So what it was is tapping into this, I guess, sixth, seventh sense or next layer of understanding that we all embody energy. And if we understand the energy that we have, that we're putting out, whether it's to be a bully, whether it's to be whatever it's connected, we can identify those different things in different spaces. So when I go to networking events, I don't want to talk to everyone.
Yeah, I really know who you want to talk to.
Don't want to talk to everyone. If I'm looking for helpers, or if I'm looking for people that are supporters, you know, they're supporters. They're very strong supporters. They don't ever want to be in the front line of anything. They just want to be supporters. If you're talking to a type A person, they normally want to be supported.
Yes.
So if you go and connect with that person, the formula is already wrong. Because that person is putting out, I am type A.
Right.
I'm not here to support.
How do you read that? Because I now study human behavior, like body language, all that kind of stuff. So I can understand, like, if there's someone somewhere, I can be like, okay, they don't want to talk to me. I'm not going to even bother stepping my mark. How do you, specifically in this space, doesn't necessarily have to be a networking event, but I've seen you, like, people walking past, like, speaking to people and stuff like that. How do you gauge that with people?
I really think it's the first 15 to 20 seconds. You can tap into the space of positive or negative in the first 15 or 20 seconds of being around someone.
How?
I think for me, how I see it is, I'm an empath, so I feel things strongly. Right? So when I feel this is this, and that is that. And you can really, really gauge it. If you just, like, silence your mind and silence your energy, take a back seat, right? Then you can really allow yourself to be present for other people's energy. So, like, when someone's sad, you know they're sad because you can gauge that they're sad. You can see it. You can feel it. When someone's angry, you can kind of tell. When someone's emotional, you can. I mean, these are things that are very clear because we all know what it looks like for ourselves, and we also know what we put out to other people. Right? When you're angry, you know you're putting out an energy of anger.
Well, unless you're at the peak of it and you're so irrational.
That's very true.
Do you know what I mean? So there's that. Once you get past that, then there's the difficult. But like you say, you can walk into a room and that saying you can what is it? You can cut the tension in this room.
Feel it. And so for me, when I'm in that space, it's a very, very outer body, inner body experience because you kind of have to know what you're expecting.
Yes.
And what I'm expecting when I go into rooms of networking is I know that I'm going to be hounded by a lot of different energies.
Very true.
Right?
Very true.
It's like when you're approaching someone that you think is hot or you think is a good person that you will want to be friends with or someone's friendly, what are you looking for? You're looking for someone that connects, connection of, okay, this is going to be, this is going to work, you know?
Well, that's the interesting thing, actually. So I've learned to try and to speak to more women here, and I've actively gone up without expecting anything, but just seeing if there is a potential for something. And a lot of the times, I always get their contact information, like Instagram number, whatever. Nothing always comes from it. I'd say probably most of the time, nothing comes from it. But it's the act of doing it, because what was always in my mind was the anxiety of, well, what if they say no? What if this happens? What if everyone laughs?
So you're projecting an energy of negativity.
Exactly.
This is not going to work. And if you connect that, let's say we connect that same level of energy to life, right? Human connection is the same way. If I walk into a space and I'm putting out, oh, I'm not gonna connect with people, or this is not gonna be well, everyone here is gonna be bad.
Yeah.
That's what you're gonna receive.
Exactly.
Because you're like pushing out that magnet to receive that.
You'll find those people in that room.
and early on, I used to be so afraid. So I'll take you back. When I was in middle school and high school and early stages of high school, I used to be so afraid of my voice. So I didn't start speaking until I was 3.
Really?
And afterwards, I had a speech impediment. And so I would say things, I couldn't pronounce certain things. Even now as an adult, it sometimes comes back. But,
right.
I couldn't enunciate my words well. I couldn't say P, it would be S in front of the P. So instead of parking space, it would be sparking space.
Interesting.
Instead of I want, like you could not do that. And so I used to be very much afraid of my voice. And you know how people call into radio stations, I would never want to do that. Would never ever want to do that because I was just afraid of listening to what other people would hear. Right. Thinking that it was not good enough, it was not the level it should be at, because I didn't start speaking really until I was 3. Right. So all my life, all the things that were geared for me to fail at, which is with speaking, never wanted to speak up in class, never wanted to be the kid that was called on to read, never wanted to do any of those things. And then fast forward, it's my thing that I do very well.
That's, do you know what? I love that. I've got to just cut that there. I don't want to cut you off your thought, but your biggest struggle in your past ends up always being your superpower. Yeah, I'm a big believer in that. The superpower has to be tapped into. Yeah, it's not a given gift, it's actually a worked for gift.
It has to be tapped into. And what I've noticed is that when you tap into it and you nurture it, it opens up doors that you didn't even know were possible. Yes. And the fear, like you said, the fear of connecting with other people, a lot of times is people's crutch because they're givers and they don't want to be misused, or everyone that has come before has really hurt them in the process. And so as humans, one of the most natural things for us is connection. Yes. And if we don't connect with other humans, then we find ourselves in really dark places. Yeah,
I would actually agree with that, because ever since coming here, it feels like a whole another level of confidence. Like I've considered myself over the past 5 years a confident person, but confident where I feel confident, not when it's difficult. Do you know what I mean? So I can have a one-on-one conversation and be a very confident person. And a lot of people, like I've actually spoke to a lot of people here, and they're like, what do you mean you're not a social person? I'm like, I'm not a social person.
This is my alias.
Yeah, literally. It's like, if anything, it's another tool to my toolbox. Like, it's not, it's kind of necessary for what I want to achieve. To meet the right people, to get around the right people, to help the right people, and also what you give out is what you receive back. So it's like, again, not from a place of, I expect everyone to give me everything. It's like, but even just us here today is because of a connection that happened completely spontaneously, and that's allowed us to connect, which has allowed us to also connect with people that we didn't know before, which has served us. And for me, connection is now one of the most important things, because it's like, you don't know what you might get. And again, you might not get anything, but you don't know what you might get.
So without expectation, is a part of your formula.
My formula.
I would agree with you on that. Yeah. Doing things without expectation. The only expectation you should have is the internal expectation of what you're putting out.
Yes. Yes.
So what I know that I want to be able to give these people is the best version of me.
So what you can control. Because I can't control. So I could give you a pizza. Yeah. You could think of that as a gift, or you could think of that as, oh, thank you, here's some money. Yeah. If I'm expecting you to give me money and you don't, then straight away I've lost.
Like, oh, this person doesn't.
Exactly, this person he doesn't, and then you're just like, well, you offered me a pizza. You didn't say you wanted money. Like, if you would have asked for money, I would have given it to you. But it's like, so straight away, say it. Like, if you want something out of this connection, don't hide it. Don't.
Well, that's what happens a lot of times. Is people are not honest and truthful with their intent.
for what they really want.
Yeah. And a lot of times I don't even think they know themselves what the intention is. I have a guiding principle. And one of those guiding principles is I only do what I want to do because I want to do it, not because I have to do it.
Yeah. No, I love that.
So when it comes to friends or anyone it may be, I don't do anything that I don't want to do.
Yeah. You have a good no.
Now.
Without reason.
Now. Before I didn't have that no. I just felt like I felt obligated.
Yeah.
Because I'm connected with so many people. I have to do this. I have to do this. But the guiding principle now and the part of freedom now in the piece of being free is I don't do what I don't want to do. And if I do it, it's because I wanted to do it.
Yeah, no, I hear you with that. And what got you to that place? So would you say in your past you were a bit of a people pleaser and you're just like, oh, I'll just do it because they want me to and I'll just go along with it?
I discovered that my stronghold and my positive gift are people.
Right.
So the stronghold would be...
What do you mean by that?
So for me, the one thing like a crutch, the thing that is my crutch is people. It's like I have a heart for people.
Right.
And because I have a heart for people, I don't like to see people struggling.
Right.
I mean, you could be my worst enemy. And if you have a flat tire or something, I will pull over and help you. And that sometimes isn't the positive thing because it's like picking up a snake that you know is going to bite, has the ability of biting you. But you say, oh no, I'm going to take care of the snake and it's going to be all right. And then you're like, you're blindsided, but you're not blindsided because that is the makeup of the snake. Yeah.
That reminds me of a very good, like, I don't know where the philosophy or the story came from, but that specifically, there was two monks, they were walking, and one of the monks, they're obviously practicing compassion for everything and everyone. All they do is based around compassion. One of the monks sees a scorpion in the water, struggling, pulls the scorpion out, and it stings him. It falls back in the water. He pulls the scorpion out and it stings him. And the other monk says, you know what's going to happen. And he said, but what I'm giving out is compassion. So even though I know, like, my job is to save it, the scorpion's job is to sting me. That's what it does.
And that's the stronghold. It's the fact of knowing what the outcome will be.
Yes.
Or assuming that you know based on prior knowledge.
Yes.
That this is a possibility that could happen.
Yeah, exactly.
And still doing what you think is best for these. For instance, there was a time I mentor a lot of people, and one of the things was I mentored some college students while I was in college, and I rented them a car, literally rented them a car, and I was just like, they wanted to go on this trip. I was able to rent the car. I was like, okay, cool, I rent the car. But I told them, I said, if anything happens, you're responsible. So it's just like, hey, you're responsible. So I get a call.
Car's broken. Oh, they've crashed.
They are speeding around an exit and damn it, like the car's in a car accident. Literally. Down maybe 6 or 7 hours after they get the car. So the parents of the kids are like, why did you rent them the car? X, Y, and Z? Because I'm like, but they needed to get home to you guys.
Yeah.
So I did what I thought was I did what I thought was the good deed, but it ended up turning out to being a bad deed because it turned into a big negative situation.
But then was it a bad deed, or was it like you did what was in your control to help? They pulled the scorpion out of the water and it stung them.
But that's the thing is that underage drivers, they have a tendency of speeding,
right,
and not having control. And knowing that, that's why they don't rent to underage drivers. Right. But I tried to circumvent that for them. Right. And it caused us both some life lessons to learn.
That's the biggest thing, though. It's like whenever something goes wrong in my life, my immediate thing is, right, how can I make a video about this? Because that's
where you are now, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It wasn't where you were before. Before you probably didn't want people seeing those things that were
I always thought of them as issues. A bit embarrassing, but now I'm like for example, I've been sort of posting my journey of now starting a hypnotherapy training business, and I don't have a clue what I'm doing. I know how to teach it, I don't know how to market it. Okay. So it's like I'm coming up to it and I'm like, I haven't got many people on this course yet and I don't know how I'm gonna keep this running. So I'm like, what do I need to learn? But like in the process of videoing it, there was like a few things. A cockroach ran straight across my thing. And I'm like, but that's a great thing to show people, be like, look, you don't start at the top. No one starts at the top. Yeah. Well, even if you start with, let's say you've got one full bucket, which is the financial side of things. Well, yeah, you might have that, but you may not have confidence. So it's like people always put money as like the most important thing. It's like, oh yeah, but you've got money, so you've got all of this. And it's like, well, some people that have money don't have love from their family. Some people that have money don't have any confidence. Yeah. So some people do, and it's whatever. But
I think one of the most wealthiest things that we can acquire along the journey of life is healthy, organic
connections.
Yeah,
I was right.
Healthy, organic, authentic connections. These are, I had to thank a friend. I mean, I thank my friends often, but the friends that are just, there's nothing attached. It's like, I'm just here because I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here because I want to make sure that you're good.
Yes.
You know? And after being that for so many people for so long, I think everyone deserves that.
I completely agree. I think everyone deserves that. The difference is not everyone's gonna get it. And I suppose also, that's kind of like, not everyone's gonna get everything. Yes, everyone wants to be successful. Yes, everyone wants the best relationship, but those who get it are the ones that work for it. And obviously it was your biggest crutch, and now it's your biggest strength.
Yeah, it was my biggest crutch. But now I think it's a strength of mine because I've identified the foundation of what it means and the power that it has for I won't say an average person, but for an average person along the journey.
How did you identify that? Because like before you were a competent human connector, obviously anyone, before we learn English, we don't know English. My Spanish is still not great. How did you identify how to become a better human connector, especially for someone watching this that's like, oh, I don't really know what to do?
Mine started with arrogance. And I will say this because, I mean, I'm just being honest, the journey of my life, when I felt insecure, I pushed out an energy of overconfidence.
Right.
That bordered line and sometimes crossed the line of arrogance.
Okay, interesting.
And so when I identified that was what that was, what I did was I transitioned from the arrogant space and knowing that I could control energy in that space to being the humble one in the room.
Right.
So if I'm the connector, I'm not worried about what I'm getting from the equation. I'm not worried about who I'm connecting with. I'm taking people who have value.
Right.
And I'm putting them in a bag of life's bag. And I'm saying, what is it that you need that I can help you with?
Right. So you're thinking about someone else.
Someone else.
Interesting.
And I realized the more that I thought about others in the space of adding value to and not necessarily taking away from, it didn't become a crutch.
Yeah.
What it did was the value of human to human connection, me to you, you to someone else, that's where things happen.
Yes.
And so you possess different qualities and skill sets and talents and amazing abilities that I don't.
Yeah, and vice versa.
And I have those same things that you don't.
Exactly.
And the next person has something that we both don't.
Exactly.
But where I lack, I have to connect with someone who has an abundance.
Ah, that's beautiful.
And so what I did was I realized that is the real power. That's the real power. The real power is in the connecting. Because if I connect you to someone else and you guys are able to build something, whether I'm involved or not, I'm still connected.
Yeah.
Because I'm the connector.
Yeah, 100%.
So
100%.
At some point, if you have a key and the next person has a key and I don't need those keys, I'm giving you guys these keys.
Yeah.
There will be a time where I will need a key that you'll see that I need a key and you will just naturally do it.
It's that law of reciprocation, like, and I've done this many times before, again, without expecting. That's the biggest thing, coming back to tying it all together. Don't expect anything from anyone, but give without expectation, because in the future it may come back to you.
Give intentionally.
Yes, yeah. To the right people.
Give intentionally. Intentionality is very important. So
definitely.
giving with intention. The intention of, I want to see these people win. I want to see this move forward. I want to see this relationship build. I want to see the positive energies connect. I want to see the synergy burst. That is the intent. It's for me. It became a power. It became my power because my superpower, my big S on the chest is finding out that people have different things that need to be connected, and when they don't see it and the other people don't see it, I can see it.
Yes, exactly.
And if I say, okay, boom, you just tell me one thing you need in life, I can, in my mind, think about the Rolodex of everyone I've met and say, this person, that person, connect them.
Yes.
And that's the power.
And that's it. And obviously, that's something that you've acquired over time, which takes time to get to as well. Intention, biggest thing. And one of the things that you said there about connecting the right people is you don't need to know everything. You just need to know people that know things that can help you. And whether you like him or not, Henry Ford, the guy who obviously created Ford Motors.
Is that Henry Ford?
Yeah. I thought you were generally asking a question.
Of course.
I've been listening to Think and Grow Rich, the audiobook again, and he was like in court, and they were basically saying how arrogant he was and all this, and then he said, he was like, well, I'm sorry, but if I need information, like, I don't need to know everything. Like, they were firing questions at him. He was like, I don't need to know everything because I can press a button and I can get someone who has that exact information. I don't have to waste my time learning it. And it's like down to, use this as an example, this situation. If you're not as savvy with cameras, find someone who's great with cameras. If someone is not great with audio, find someone who's great. Do you know what I mean? It's finding the right people that can come together to create something, because like you said, we won't know everything, and thinking we do know everything is that level of arrogance. And no, I've got this. No, I know they have got this for you. Like, I can't do that.
And it also serves as our weakness and our detriment as well.
What do you mean?
If in the moment where you try to be everything,
yes,
you know, there are people like myself and you and others that have many talents, many talents, but we don't have all the talents.
Yes.
And when you try to do everything, you can never really do things at the fullest potential that they should be done. They're only done halfway.
Yeah.
They're only done at a level that's okay. You know, I do flyers, I do edits, but that's not my area.
Yes, exactly.
And when I put someone that's their area, if I entrust them with their thing, that's a part of the human connection.
It's saving you time. It's giving them more skill as well, because they're doing it.
We're on a race. We're trying to get somewhere. And my skill set is, it's almost like, let me take you to this example. In what's the race that they pass the baton?
Relay
race.
Yeah.
They have 4 different types of runners. They have a super fast runner, the person is going to keep it going. They have the person that's like super speeder.
Yeah.
And then you have the person that's going to bring it home.
Yeah.
I don't know if I explained that correctly.
Yeah, but it's not my fault either.
4 different layers of track. Track's not my thing. But if you position those people incorrectly,
very true,
there's no way to win the win.
Yeah. If you position the starter at the finish, you've straight away lost.
There's no way to win.
Yeah.
And if you are a finisher, but you're leading everything as a starter, there's no way you can win.
Yeah.
There's no way to win because you are a finisher. Like if you're a closer, I'm a closer.
Right.
So I can
see that, George. I can see it.
And close. I'm a closer all day. But the first step to closing is knowing who's at the table and making sure that you have a jury of people that you've selected.
And they're qualified. Yeah.
So anything, any endeavor, anything that I've ever done since understanding this, I always rely on the strengths of others.
Right. And you do that with humility, like, I don't know that.
I don't.
Please do it.
But what I do know, I will not be contested on.
Yeah, exactly.
But the things that I know are not my strength, I will hands down let someone else do it. But like even with that, it's still intention, right? When I'm designing a flyer, I may not physically be able to go into Photoshop and design it.
Yeah.
But I'm the visionary.
Right.
And
so you know what you want.
I know what's in my mind for you to design.
Exactly.
And so it's not for you really to take over with your area of creativity, but for you to complement the situation. And that's in everything. Yeah. When people come to a table for dinner and they say it's a potluck, the person who is creating the meal has the key things already or the theme of that dinner. Right? So if you're bringing something that's not connected to the theme...
Bring guacamole to an Indian night.
You're supposed to compliment.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a really good analogy,
It's a very good thing. So when people live their lives in the idea of, I need to compliment those around me.
Right.
I need to find people, not that are just beautiful on the outside, but are also very beautiful on the inside. Those that are really, really just here because they want to see everybody in the circle win. Those that will add value to situation because they're going to bring themselves at 100%.
Yes. I'm curious actually, would you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
I'm an introverted extrovert.
Okay.
Because I'm always surrounded by people, but I'm normally by myself.
Right. Because I was going to say for people watching
or
this...
with my besties.
For people watching this, I wasn't sure what they would think. So a lot of people assume I'm an extrovert, and they would probably assume you're an extrovert as well. But like you said, I'm spend a lot of time on my own because I thoroughly enjoy my own time. Mainly, it's like I love myself so much from a place of self-love, not arrogance or ego, that I don't need to be around people. I can sit on my own and have a perfectly good time. But for people that would say, "Oh, I'm an introvert. How can I connect with people?" What would your advice be to them?
Be an introvert.
But how do they harness the actual power of being an introvert and use it to their strength?
Because introverts are normally supporters.
Very true.
They're the people in the background. They don't need to be in the front line. Every major person is surrounded by a lot of introverts. A lot of introverts. Any president, any leader, any lead, any CEO, whomever it is surrounded by a bunch of people who see the vision. They may not be the visionary, but they can connect to the vision. And they say, I want to see this go forward. Why people volunteer for things all the time. They volunteer to be a phone bank. They volunteer to go and do this because they themselves couldn't do it.
Right.
But they know they have something to add
to it
that will help it go a lot faster.
Right. Because the interesting thing is, I would also consider myself an introvert, although the contradiction is that I see myself as the A-type person, but just an introvert as well. And like, there's a lot of leaders in companies, for example, Richard Branson, like those type of people that are massive introverts, and they have the vision, but they need the extroverts to complement that. Do you know what I mean? They're like I'm not a natural salesperson. I've learned sales, but when it comes to the time where I can employ people to do my sales, I'm doing that in an instant because it's just one of those things I've had to wear the hats to learn as a skill it served me massively, and I will 100% say that. But no matter where someone is, introvert, extrovert, we can be that visionary, we can be the behind the scenes, and an extrovert can also be a behind the scenes person. It's finding your balance as a human to figure out where you're best placed. And Gary Vaynerchuk says it best: every company needs a CEO, every company needs a COO, every company needs a CFO. They need each position. If the CEO is also the CFO, they're just wasting their time. It's like, no, stick to what you're good at, and if you're a footballer, don't play golf. Play football.
Or if you're talented, you can do both.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
I think you have a really great point there. You know, ideally, I'm not going to argue on the fact that there are some introverts that are in extroverted roles, and some extroverts that are in introverted roles, and some people that just don't know where they are supposed to be, or some that are not confident in where they are supposed to be stationed in life.
Right.
I'm really, really happy that people in the world get an opportunity every day to wake up and discover who they are. And I think that one of the things that I think could be a goal for us, intention for us putting out, is human connection is only one component. It's only one piece of the puzzle. It's a very important piece. It's only one piece of the puzzle. The puzzle of life is never solved while we're here. You know, that's a whole nother conversation, right?
Stay tuned.
But I believe that we all have to make positive strides whenever we can. And I would challenge people to dissect their inner circle, dissect the people around them, and to dissect those that they will meet in the future, and figure out if the people that they're connected to are genuinely there because they just enjoy being there, or are they there because of something that they want to get from them?
Right.
And those are very unhealthy relationships where you know it's just a transaction. You're playing the stereo, you're playing this game, but you don't like this person and they don't really like you, but it's all about what can we get from each other.
Exactly. I'm a big believer in that. Just if it's not right, it's not right.
It's just not right. And you could get a lot from the situation, but there are byproducts of those things.
100%.
It's like the residue of whatever it may be. The stench of being sprayed by a skunk will travel with you.
Yeah, very true.
You know, and if we're sitting too close,
that's it. Don't take the skunk. Take some nice aftershave. So what is it, Dior Sauvage?
Yeah. So let's round it up with two thoughts. First thought would be, what do you think is your superpower?
My superpower. That's a very interesting one. My superpower is, I think it's the tenacity to just keep going no matter what. I've got a very competitive nature in me. If I'm running, like I've actively done, I run sometimes at the moment, I'm not, but if I run and I see someone else running, I'll always make sure I run further or I run a bit faster. And sometimes that is detrimental because then someone comes flying past me who's a great runner and I'm like, but it's that tenacity to keep moving forward. If I don't know something, I'll learn something. I'm a constant learner, and I think to sum up everything, it would be learning with that consistency. It's just doing it until I get it. That's definitely my superpower.
That's good.
How about yourself? What's your superpower?
I think the human connector, the connector piece is a very big superpower of mine. The ability to understand where people are is a very big superpower.
Right.
And it's sometimes I used to always say it's a gift and a curse, it's a gift and a curse, but I really think it's a gift. You know, the curse is what you do with it.
True.
You know, that's when you can be manipulative or you can control. And I think a lot of the times that's where people get in trouble is because they have a gift of understanding people, and then they use their power to influence someone, or they do whatever they can to benefit themselves.
Using a superpower, if you want to put it in like a more trackable thing, use money as an example. Money is not good or bad. It's what you do with the money.
Yeah.
So there can be someone who just wants to help charities. They could give billions if they, let's say, like someone in the US won something like $1 billion on the lottery or something. They could be the most giving person ever, and they could really go and help a lot of people. They could sort all their friends, their families for generations. Not saying they have to, and they're not obliged to. They do what they want, it's their money. Just like anyone that's earned it. Like people say about Elon Musk, oh, he should give this. It's like, well, yeah, I agree, but also he earned the money. He can do what he wants with it, like, chill. Whereas there's some people that can use money in a very bad way. There's people that use it to buy guns. There's people that use it to like actively source countries, like all this type of stuff. So it's how you use anything.
Yeah.
And like you said, you're using your superpower for good. And we only really know how we use it by using it. Most of the time, like you said, you started off with the arrogance. I've had a lot of arrogance with things.
The past.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying from the past. Same with myself. My mum even said to me years ago, she was like, you've got a God complex. And not from a bad place, she was doing it from stop being a dick, basically. Do you know what I mean? Like you're not using what you've got well. And how we use it is our choice. But usually we use things badly anyway. It's like when you first drive a car when you're young. When I first drive a car. Exactly. You do wheel spins. You burn out the tires. You do all these stupid things. That then when you start driving a car, you're like, why am I wasting money on that?
Oh my gas.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. You're literally like, whoa. Especially with now everything's going on.
Gotta clean the car every week.
But yeah, I think human connection is something that everyone needs to dive into, not become a master. Maybe they can find the masters to supplement them, but we need a base level of everything, I think, to become a well-rounded person.
Yeah. I think you said it all. I think that's really good. Human connection is the foundation of the journey that we're on in life. And the moment that we discover that we are a major component of that connection, it's not just an outside thing.
Yeah.
It's like we're connected, but it's my connection to you and your connection and your connection to me that is the connection.
Yes.
It's not one-sided.
Yeah, you can't really high five yourself.
It's not something that you can create falsely. It has to be a genuine connection with a great intent, and the power that we have is the first connect with self.
Yes. Oh, biggest one. And there's just one little thing that I want to end on, which is the tattoo that I'm getting tomorrow. It's all in Spanish. I'm gonna say it in Spanish.
You sure it's gonna say the right thing?
Posible. Hoy es el mejor día de todos. Estoy vivo. So today is the best day of them all. I'm alive. I'm living. And like you said earlier, which reminded me of it, was every day we get an opportunity. Are you gonna make that opportunity today? And I'm getting on my leg, and I want it to face me because it's for me. It's not for anyone else.
How big is it gonna be?
It's only about that big, and I want to get it just so that if I'm ever thinking, feeling sorry for myself, which again, the work that I do, we still have those days.
Yeah.
I want to see it and go, I am alive. Like.
Now, once you get the tattoo, you can't be out here without some sunscreen.
No, we good.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, that's it, George.
It's been really good, brother.
Always. Siempre, hermano.